What is up, family? It's Beam J back with another video, and in this I need to separate what's the deal with SC, SPY video, the QQQQQ, and several different tickers, separate what's going on with the monetary schedule up to this point, what's the deal with the news following Tesla, and what you ought to look for over time. Before the down data, before it dives into additional subtleties, let me simply notice 2 or 3 things. I'm by not a monetary organizer, so take nothing I say as monetary exhortation. And furthermore, assuming that you all can, kindly look at the Webull Connect, which is down beneath and in the depiction. Assuming you pursue Webull and store $500, you're insured 20 free stocks. Assuming you store $25,000 more, you're insured 75 of them. The contributions are coming very soon, in only 2 or 3 weeks. In any case, for Tesla, as may be obvious, this thing has been improving throughout the previous 2 days. We had this low rate here over 160, then we began to make this high up to 173, returned lower, returned up higher once more, and we just made record-setting cases all around. So the pattern on Tesla is a smidgen more bullish, and we likewise have this lopsidedness as far as possible up here around this 177 region, giving Tesla significantly more potential to go higher. We have this help somewhere in this vicinity at this 171.5 region, our 50 EMA. Thus far, Tesla is holding it pleasantly. The outline looks bullish. I will separate more insights regarding this in only a couple of moments. We should initially discuss a few information. So for now, we had the monetary confidence report come out somewhere in this vicinity. It will be emerging at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so watch for some instability 30 minutes after the market opens. And afterward at 11:30 a.m., we have the 42-day bill sell-off emerging, and 1 p.m., we have the 3-year notes closeout. So we have a considerable amount of bill barters, also another monetary confidence report, and this is paving the way to Wednesday, and we have the unrivaled CPI emerging. We will check whether this makes the market siphon or dump, so prepare for CPI on Wednesday also. However, for the present, search for some instability at 10 a.m., and furthermore at 11:30 a.m., at the point when we have the large report and the bill closeout emerging for additional information. At the present time, we had a great deal of stocks been somewhat level yesterday from the SP 500, the Nasdaq Composite, yet they're beginning to show more life today as we're battling some obstruction there. Additionally, some news somewhere in this vicinity about how Tesla settled the unfair passing claim that was brought by the group of Walter Hang. Once more, it's truly horrendous to hear anything about this. However, the settlement has been made, and Tesla has recorded a seal based on the conditions of the settlement from the general visibility until further notice. So that is incredibly significant. Other than that, Binance's new chief Richard Tang said that the digital money trade has moved past social issues subsequent to paying $4.3 billion in fines to settle charges from the equity office. That is a major change somewhere in this vicinity for the space. Furthermore, Seoul carriers, so on. Monday, it will concede conveyances of new airplane, and furthermore, it will leave around 260 pilots with an end goal to support liquidity. Large news for them as they have a spending plan of about $340 million over the course of the following 2 years to do as such. Some new news for them. That is what the titles are talking about the present moment. Presently, we should discuss Tesla. So Tesla stock has been taken out from Barrett's negative rundown, with investigators bullish on robocabs and energy. This is since the new news emerged about how Elon Musk made the declaration for August 8th. So that is some uplifting news for them. We're beginning to see a few investigators being less negative, and that is incredibly marvelous for Tesla. There's likewise a great deal of titles emerging about this. Tesla's Chinese homegrown deals have multiplied in WALC 2024, which is marvelous. There's a 17.02% increment from the 30,000 that we got in February. For the period of spring, we moved past 62, 31.98, so we saw a decent expansion in the long stretch of spring generally. What's more, I'm not saying the numbers were perfect. They're not the best ever, yet there was a slight increment. They were somewhat better compared to the manner in which the year began. The year got going on an exceptionally low note for Tesla, incredibly powerless. We likewise had Chinese New Year in February, however, at that point for spring, things were seeming to be a slight improvement. So hopefully we see this pattern keep going into April. Hopefully Tesla deals improve also, so we'll find out how things turn out from that point. The information additionally shows that around 89,000 discount vehicles were sold in WALC 2024. 57,000 altogether were Model 1 hybrids, and 31,000 were Model 3 cars. So that is extremely significant also, and the Chinese new energy vehicle area saw around 79,000 deals in spring. TSLA actually has an enormous piece of it, yet it's not, however, immense as it could resemble in the USA, so it demonstrates that things are much more aggressive around there. Tesla just had about an 88.8% portion of that. So indeed, they're getting a great deal of deals. Regardless, the market's extremely immense, and it's exceptionally aggressive around there. I'm trusting that Tesla finds another edge, whether this is a direct result of they declare new items, new limits, new motivating forces, or significantly another $25,000 vehicle. That is another chance. How about we find out how things turn out for Tesla? Tesla sells the L of the autopilot crash, which is a decent piece of information for them. I just discussed that. So that is what it's resembling up to this point. And this is similar to a graph of what their deals resemble. We saw a decent expansion in spring toward the finish of the quarter. Great to see that event, as we saw around 62,318 deals in spring, which isn't terrible for them, and they sold a sum of 132,000 vehicles in China for the main quarter. By close to half of them happened simply in the period of spring, or entirely near that, so not awful at all. Hopefully we keep on seeing increments for the period of April and then some. We'll check whether that winds up proceeding, yet this is standing out as truly newsworthy until further notice, and that is the reason I think this is more sure for Tesla. So based on how the situation is playing out this moment, the news has been more certain for Tesla. Thus far, Tesla is attempting to upturn a piece. So in the event that you take a pattern line like this, you can see it's been simply proceeding to push in a wedge. So it's shaping like a wedge here. It's proceeding to hold up very pleasantly. So as I would like to think, there's a generally excellent possibility that Tesla regards this upswing and we in the long run reach 175 and we keep on pushing higher over the long haul. For help, on the off chance that we lose 171.5, we could begin sinking to 167.5, so those will be your backings on the off chance that we separate. Watch 171.5 as key help. Obstruction, watch 175. Assuming that we break this, watch 177.1, ultimately more significant levels like 180 as I would see it. The diagram is improving, looking areas of strength for pretty at this point. There's a generally excellent possibility we will push for 175 very soon. We might get through that and begin to keep on pushing gradually to around 177. I view that as an extremely sensible and conceivable objective. That's what assuming you break. 180 will be our next target. Tesla looks bullish such a long ways as I would like to think. For SPY is extremely intriguing. It is framing similar to a wedge-like construction, yet entirely it's battling essentially 520. On the off chance that we break past 520, search for a push for 522 to fill this lopsidedness. In the event that we neglect to do as such, watch support at 518. In the event that you lose that, watch 517.5, 516.5, 515 by and large. As hitting this obstruction over and over and once more, we could be searching for 520 as our extremely significant objective. On the off chance that we break this, we could be pushing as far as possible up to this awkwardness fill. I believe there's an excellent opportunity SPY will endeavor to do as such since we're shaping a bullish wedge. What's more, keep a lookout on the off chance that we could hold 520 for affirmation. In the event that you break this, a decent push will be coming as far as possible up towards the 522 region. Moreover, assuming you take a gander at the 4-hour time span, 4 hours areas of strength for looking. So there's a generally excellent possibility it could attempt to fill this unevenness. This is looking more bullish as we're seeing some more short covering just before the enormous CPI uncover. So we look a little bullish heading into CPI. We could really push higher. The graph leans toward that somewhat more. For the QQQ, same thing. We have this obstruction around this 442.50 region. On the off chance that we break this, we will be searching for a push up to 444 ultimately, the skip F at 445.6. For help, assuming that we lose 442, we will be coming right down to 440 level. Assuming that bombs us 438 is straight away. As the present moment we're finding opposition, we can possibly go higher, and I in all actuality do see potential in the QQQ Geary much like covert operative. It could proceed with considerably higher. For Aapl, Apple's endeavoring to bounce back. We discussed how Aapl might pop first, yet I wasn't actually loving the arrangement, since we're on an extremely solid downtrend on Aapl, regardless, and we might keep on falling later on. Allow me 1 second, folks, sorry about that. So Apple's not looking that incredible. There's somewhat of a downtrend here. Watch opposition at 169. That is where our 50 EMA will be. It will probably endeavor to push there. Assuming that we break this, 170 is coming. Assuming that we neglect to break this, we could return to 168. So I think a major test is coming on Aapl at 169.000 to 50 EMA. We'll check whether this breaks or not, yet in general, don't anticipate that Aapl should be areas of strength for stunningly. We don't anticipate that it should detonate as far as possible up to madly undeniable levels. The diagram is on an extremely slow pattern. We're actually giving it. It actually needs somewhat additional time. So I would agree that simply be extremely quiet with it and we'll find out how things turn out essentially from that point. So that being said, with this uniqueness on the everyday, we could see a little skip on Aapl. It would make sense if that's what we saw, yet the chance of there being some sort of little bob, I don't anticipate that it should be excessively huge to some extent until further notice. I figure it may very well be somewhat minor, and afterward at last, taking a gander at Nvda is likewise showing some life attempting to pop a tad. In the event that we could break this obstruction at 872, 877 is coming, trailed by 885. Nvda is seeming as though it could push a tad, however, watch opposition. We have the 50 EMA at 870.77 being critical. Assuming we get through that, we will push a lot higher. In the event that you neglect to do as such, could pop to opposition and reject. Watch support at 865, watch opposition at 877. However we break will decide the greater move. It is showing some life on the hourly. Could push somewhat higher to basically to 877. We'll find out how high it turns out after that. So folks, that is all there is to it for the video. We're seeing a few likely in stocks, likewise for Tesla attempting to push somewhat higher. So hopefully for the best for Tesla, we should check whether we can get another bullish move. As of the present moment, the outline is leaning toward bulls, and we'll find out how things turn out from that point. Right, thank you for tuning in. Have a totally staggering rest of the day, and I'll see you folks extremely soon in the following one. Much obliged to you, and Harmony out.